Hello and welcome to 6.1 Lab 2. Go ahead and open up this file and put in your student information there. And you're going to need to open 6.1 Lab 2 JS file. So go ahead and open those up, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to continue on with working with JavaScript and HTML together. In this one, we're not going to be working with a table. We're going to be working with an ordered list. There are a few different kinds of lists in HTML. Probably the two most common are unordered and ordered. There's another one called definition list, but we'll work with the ordered list tag today, and we're going to ID it just like we have been, so we can grab it, and then we're going to be adding what are called LI tags, which mean list item tags. So we're going to add items to our list. And the other reason for this particular lab is to show you a little bit about variable scope. And so we're going to be talking about where variables live and how they breathe and things. So once we get in the code, I'll show you that. But what you need to do is you need to open up this in your editor, and you're going to need to scroll down, and you're going to need to look for the ordered list with an ID of output list. That's what we're going to be grabbing and working with. Okay. Then in our JavaScript file, if we flip to that, up the top we're going to put in a global variable. Now there are two main places or scopes that variables live. One is global, one is local. And just like the name connotation there, global means I can access them from anywhere. So like my variable full name here, I should be able to access anywhere. The local means it's only local within my function. So like here on line 7, I have this variable output. I can only access that variable within my function print full name. So I cannot access it anywhere else. Now there is one caveat to that, because your first thought would be, okay, any variable inside a function, I can only access inside that function. Not true. The key here is this keyword var to declare the variable. So if I were to do something like this, I just created a variable but without the var keyword. Now, here, let me just make it clear. I'll just put the value of 10 in there. So I just declared output 2 and it's equal to 10. But without using the var keyword, even though I did this within my function, that output 2 variable is global. The only way I make that private, so to speak, and some of you who are going through OOP1 have learned about private and public. So right now that one's public, it's global. I have to put the var keyword into it, and that kind of encapsulates it and declares it as private inside my print full name. Now you may wonder, well, why in the world would anybody do that? If we're going to try and protect variables and the information and not get all confused, why not just make them all inside of a function and so on and so forth? Well, there are times where you need a global variable. You need some global functions, things like that, some global information that access from several different places. When you guys, if you get to client-side 2, or client-side web scripting, I should say, inside client-side web scripting, we're going to learn about what are called AJAX requests or XHR requests, and in there you need to use inside of a function a global variable to access request information. So there are times where you need to do this, but in this case, we're not. So in here, what we're going to do is we added that global variable full name, and then we're created a function called print full name. So I just created that function print full name, and then inside there we're going to create a local variable called full name, like there. And then I created the output variable, and we're going to add a list item to our HTML using the output list ID with the local full name. So if here I've got my variable full name, my variable output. My output variable, I'm saying go into my document, grab an element with the ID of output list, so our ordered list, and then I set our full name value equal to Bill Smith. And then in my output section, I'm going to say, okay, inside the HTML, I'm going to do a compound operator here so I don't replace what's there already, just add to it. I'm going to do a list item of my full name, which is Bill Smith. Okay, and if we look at our example output, there we got Bill Smith. If we look at our output, we got Bill Smith. But let's look at how Judy Green got in there. Because in our instructions, let me flip back here, in our lab 6.1_2, we need to assign the name Judy Green to the global variable of full name, and then add a list item to the output list and things like that. So if I go here, I have a variable output inside lab 6.1_2. My full name variable equal to Judy Green, output, go into my document, get my element with the ID of output list, Inside that HTML, we'll make it equal to full name, and then we'll call the print full name function. Okay, and it results in this. Now, a few things I want to point out in the code. First of all, the order in which these things happen. If I go to my HTML, I'm calling lab61_2 right there. So it's calling, let me go back to my JavaScript, this function. So this function runs from top to bottom. Okay, we got our variable, we got our full name. Now this full name, because there's no var, it's referring to this full name global variable up here. So this full name is equal to Judy Green. Grab our output list, add the full name of Judy Green to it. Then we're calling the print full name function. See the parentheses behind it? Call this function so it jumps up to here. I have a variable full name, output, grab our list, make our full name equal to Bill Smith, and add it to our list. Now the other thing I want to point out, also in addition to the order, is the precedent. Notice here I declare a full name. This is a local variable, which is the same as my global variable. Now, in practice, I do not recommend doing this because this is known as ghost variables, where we have them the same exact name. It's just one is local, one is global. I highly discourage doing this because you can maybe getting confused. Well, which full name is this one right here on line 10? Is it the global or is it the local? In this case, it's the local because this one locally always overrides globally. So in practice, I would probably name this one differently than this global one, but I want you to understand how we can access variables from different locations and things like that. So when you run that, you should get Judy Green and then Bill Smith. Hope that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, let me know, and happy coding.